Hey there, and welcome to the channel where you will find love, laughs, and DIYs. My name is Crafty Kathy, and I am so happy and thankful that you stopped in to craft and spend a little time with me today. I am the owner and creator behind Kids Vintage Farmhouse here in Chattanooga, Tennessee, and this week I have been working on some adorable, whimsical cottagecore DIY decor that I hope you're going to love. We're just going to jump on into the video. The first one is two little whimsical sugar jars. I got these two ceramic sugar jars at my local thrift store here in my hometown in Chattanooga. And I couldn't believe it. They were only $1 a piece. Look how beautiful these are. And they're very ornate, and I love the design on the top of them. It's so pretty. But guess what I did? The lady had it like in a bag, in a Walmart bag, and I dropped it and broke one. But that's not the end of the world. If this happens, you super glue your piece back together. Give it enough time to get a good bond. Use some air dry clay. I like the DOS brand. Use that and water to form it back the way it was before it was broken, and it's good as new. I'm going to use some dark and decrepit. Lori sent me this to try. I've never used it before. It's a dark liquid patina. Now, when I opened it up, the first thing that I thought of was Waverly Antique Wax because it kind of has that color. But remember, this is patina, so it's not a wax. Let's try this out because what I want to do, I want to leave these kind of the way that they are because I think they're beautiful. What I want to do, however, is use some of this dark liquid patina all over the tops just to make it just a little bit darker. I just add it on with my paintbrush here, being careful not to get any on that beige part because I want to leave that the way that it is. And then I'm just going to set it aside, let it dry. I'm not going to wipe any of the excess off. And then I take my dark and decrepit, what's left on my brush, because I started off small. And I went all around these little areas because I think they're beautiful. The way it sticks out, I think that's going to be beautiful to accentuate and let it pop. So when I added a little, I liked it. So then I added a little bit more because it's best to start off small. That way you can always add on. But it's kind of harder to take off than it is to add on, you know? So I just went all around this jar and I added this on. Now this is the very first time that I've ever used this dark and decrepit dark liquid patina. So I was just going to brush it on and I was going to leave it that way. And then I thought, well, I got to play with it and kind of see what it does. So I took my lint-free rag and just kind of wiped off the excess just like we always normally do. And it's really pretty, y'all. But it does put me in the mind of the Waverly Antique Wax. To me, it's almost the same color. And it's a lot of the same consistency, to be honest with you. I'm really impressed with it, and I like it. Because all DIY products are amazing. So, you know, I'm going to start using this from now on. Now, I tried to put some on the top right there just to kind of see what it looked like. And then I ended up wiping it off because I did not like it. I figured the best thing to do is just to put that dark and decrepit on that part that has the design on the side of the jar and just leave it be. And just let that part up there stay the way that it was, the regular beige color. So by adding that dark and decrepit, this is what we got. I'm going to show you the one here that I did with the dark and decrepit and the one without. I think it's beautiful and it makes that design really pop. Now I did that to both of my jars. Not only did Miss Lori send me the dark and decrepit, but she sent me this dark wax. Now it's not black wax, it's dark wax. And so, you know, I had to try it out and play around with it too. I started applying it with the baby wipe and it didn't give me what I wanted. So I went in with a lint-free rag where I could get a little bit more leeway, you know. And then I ended up going in with the brush, just going full on. Now, it's very hard to describe the color. It's best to just see it there. You see, it's very dark, yet it's not black. It's different from my black wax in a way that it's probably a dark brown color. That is about the best way I can describe it. I absolutely love it, and I think it's beautiful. And by the way, if y'all need any of the waxes or paints or patinas that y'all see me use in my videos, just about everything I use in my videos, my IOD, everything comes from Milton's Daughter. And it's www.miltonsdaughter.com. If you use code CraftyCathy10, you get 10% off your first order. And I'll leave all that in the description and comments below so that it's easy to find. That way you can order and use the exact same stuff that I use if you so desire. I'm sorry I keep repeating it, but it doesn't matter how many times I repeat it. Somebody always asks me, so it's best just to throw it out there in every video so that everybody knows where to get the goods at, okay? So what I did was I went ahead and covered these whole jars with this dark wax. And now we're going to use some of my molds. I got these molds from Lori too, by the way. And these are the newest IOD molds. And I'm going to use these little containers that I got from Temu. And I've been using amazing resin that I get off of Amazon, and I absolutely love it. It cures, it says within 10 minutes, but guys, it's more like, it's faster than that, I promise. What you do is you have two bottles, one is A, one is B, and you just mix equal parts. I poured a whole cup full of A and just poured it in that bigger container, and this is my cup full of B. I just put them both in there and mix it up. And you have to make sure that they're mixed really good. But honestly, it just takes a few really good stirs. You see me stirring here. And I wasn't sure what I wanted out of my mold, so I kind of made a little bit of everything. I knew I wanted to do cottagecore and a cottagey feel, so I definitely wanted my doors up at the top, and I wanted some mushrooms. Now, I just went through and poured the ones that I thought that I would need for this video mostly. And if I have some left over, that's all the better. I'm not kidding y'all. It seemed like this stuff like hardened in under 5 minutes. It's amazing how fast this stuff works. And other resins, you have to wait all night for them to cure. And that's a pain in the tush when you're trying to craft and be fast about it. You know, you don't want to wait till the next day to finish your project. So what I ended up doing was going through, I did all 3 doors in the end. I got the dragonfly, the little ladybug, and the snail, and my mushrooms. And just to show y'all how fast this stuff sets, if you will look up to the left on that first little door, you see it turning white before your eyes. It's literally just setting right there. It's setting right before us. This was under 5 minutes. I know it just took me a few minutes to pour these. It's amazing. And you don't have to use cornstarch or anything in these molds when you're doing resin. And look how easy they pop out. Like they literally just popped right out. Even the ones that are more intricate, like the one that has all the door there with all the little sticks all over it, it just popped right out. I'm not sponsored by them in any way. I just think that this is an amazing product that I found. So I popped all my little pieces out in preparation for my jars. On the front of my bigger jar, I definitely wanted a door. And this is my favorite door of all those doors, you know. So I laid my jar down. I put some of that Type Bond Quick and Thick. It's actually a wood glue, but it's amazing when you're using any kind of molds. It makes it stick perfectly, and it's a good hard stick, you know. So I put a little bit on the back because I'm trying to be neat this day. Instead of doing it with my finger, I rubbed it in with a popsicle stick. And I just lay it down where I want it on my little jar. And then I'm also going to grab a little mushroom. It was kind of hard to find one that would fit on there exactly. So I scooted my door over a little bit, and I'm going to pop this one little mushroom right there on the side of my jar. Then I just grab a little bit of my blue duct tape, and I just put a couple little pieces of tape over it. That way it's not going to move while it's drying. And I just kind of set it off to the side and let it do its thing for, I try to leave it there for at least 2-3 hours at least. And then here's the smaller jar. We're going to put mushrooms on it, which I think goes beautifully with the little door. And we're going to use our dragonfly. I wasn't sure what I wanted to put on here, but again, I didn't have a whole lot of space. So I ended up putting the mushrooms and the dragonfly there. I left these to the side for probably about 3 hours so that they would be hardened enough to where I could go back and paint them. Now, mind you, these hadn't been sitting for a long time, but I couldn't stand it anymore. So I came back. I went in with, this is a Dixie Belle color called Mulberry Wine. And I absolutely love this color. And I'm going to go through here. No, I'm sorry. It's called Muscadine Wine. Muscadine Wine. And I'm going to go through and I'm going to paint my middle mushroom with that. Because to me, that's the color that I think of when I think of mushrooms. And then I'm going to use the folk art color called Castle. It's just about the same as the Waverly color called Mineral. It's that grayish tone there, the mushroom on the right. And then I go through with this folk art dark wax, and I'm just going to kind of darken everything up and give it that dark brown color and just kind of mix my colors around. I don't really try to get perfect when it comes to mushrooms because they have so many different hues of different colors in them if you really look at them. So a lot of times I'll use my finger and I'll use my little lint-free rag and kind of rub some off, as you see that I did there in the middle, because it makes it look more realistic to me. Now here's where you're really going to see what I'm talking about. I set that one to the side and I'm going to play around with my door here. I started off with that dark wax, and like I said, it's a folk art brand, dark wax. My stuff wasn't set yet, but I couldn't stand it anymore. I wanted to paint it. So I kind of just went over it very lightly, you see here, so it would get that brown color in the background. And I like to mix my colors, like I said, because it looks more realistic. I wanted my door to look like an old red door, because when I think of like a little fairyville out in the middle of the woods, I think of like a little red door for some reason. So I go through with my finger and rub some of that paint off, and it looks like it's old and worn. That's just my little trick I like to use to make stuff look more realistic. And now I've got just an old cheap eyeshadow palette, nothing special. Watch what I do. I've got my little shading brush, and they say you can get these at Dollar Tree. I got mine off Amazon, and I just go through and do yellows and greens, because this is like a vine growing up that door there, like an old ivy. So I did dark green, I did light green, I did yellow, I did an orange, and almost a little bit of a red even. And I used that brush to kind of get the color of that eyeshadow all into that vine. And I used my finger. But to be honest with you, I feel like my finger done a little bit better job than, the brush does. But look at this. When you add the different colors, the dimension that it brings to that door. Now you see, I've got this sped up, but I'm just showing you how I use different colors. I don't have a clue what I'm doing. I'm just being honest with you, but it looks good every time. Just try this eyeshadow trick and play with it and see what you think. But if you think about anything that has color, a door, the vine, whatever, it's not just one solid color. So I like to play with my colors and mix it around, and it just makes it look so real to me. My little mushroom fell off there, so I had to put a little bit of hot glue so that it would stick right now so I could keep playing around. But I love the way this door turned out. I put a lot of very dark, even black, up around the top of the door. Sorry, I'm out of frame there. But those are blocks, so we want those to be dark. Now I grab my other jar, and I just use a combination of orange and yellow on my little brush there, and I brushed it on with that, but then I kind of really rub it in with my finger, because to me, like I said, your finger is your best shading tool. I tell everybody that all the time. And so I'm going through here putting some dark browns and some lighter colors in the middle of that one mushroom in the center. But does that not look more real to you than, say, if I was to just do it all one solid color? Anyways, I just wanted to show y'all that. Thank you for letting me take the time to show you. I know it took a few extra minutes, but I just played around until I got it the way that I wanted it. I did the exact same thing with this dragonfly. I started off with that color called Castle, and it's a folk art chalk paint, and I just gave him a base color of that color called Castle. And then while he was still very slightly wet, I went over it with the yellowy colors and the orangey colors because I was trying to think of what a dragonfly looks like. And I went over his body with the dark parts, and I started using my finger absolutely on him because he had a lot of different little dimensions and little divots in his body and his wings that I wanted to show up. And so I just kind of went over him with greens and pinks and blues and just all different kind of colors that in my mind a dragonfly looks like. And then I put a little bit of the Type Bond wood glue on him and also just a drop or two of hot glue so he would stick. And that's all I did to these guys. I hope you like these too. I'll probably sell these for about $15 for the set. Now we're going to do a whimsical mushroom wreath. For the first part of the wreath, we're going to need some of this poly mesh. I got mine on clearance at Hobby Lobby. A wreath ring, which this one came from Dollar Tree, 14 inches, and some pipe cleaners. I used about 12. This wreath was very simple to make, and I'm going to do my best not to confuse when I tell you how I put this together. When I started putting it together, I did it wrong. It's got 6 little sections right here, and those straight bars in there, I'm going to call those the rungs. And then the parts that go around, of course, are the rings. And let's say that the one in the very middle there is ring number 1. Then you got 2, 3, and 4 going around. The right way to put this wreath together, I'm going to start it right here. Here's where I realized my mistake. On that middle rung, I put my pipe cleaner on number 1 and number 2. Then the ones that's out there in the middle, I put them on ring number 3 and number 4. This is the one that's on the rung, and it's supposed to go on the first and the second ring there, but I don't know why. I've just got it on the second. And then we're back in the middle again, and this is the third and the fourth ring. You see, and you just give it a little tie. So all we're doing is putting our pipe cleaners on those middle rungs, which is that part I'm doing right now. And see, I'm doing number 1 and number 2 right there. You see, I'm doing the first ring and the second ring. And then I'm going to go back to the middle, and I'm going to put this one on 3 and 4 ring. I hope that makes sense now. It was confusing at first because I messed up myself. We make mistakes. We're human. I just wanted to show you so you know how to do it right and don't waste your time doing like I did at first. But see, there's number 1 and 2, and we're on the middle rung. And then once again, I'll show you right here in the middle, we go on 3 and 4. So we're basically just putting it on the middle rungs and in the middle right there. And we're going to have a total of 12 pipe cleaners when we get done. And once again, I show you, I realized I had made my mistake right there on that very first pipe cleaner. It goes on ring number 1 and 2. And then on the outer one that you put in the center there, it goes on ring number 3 and 4. Sometimes it's easier just to see it than it is to me to explain, because I don't explain good sometimes. It's tough to. Sometimes it's hard to explain these things. Now, I got this poly mesh for $4.74 is all I paid for it at Hobby Lobby. And all we're going to do is 10-inch poofs. What we plan to do is start off at any rung that you want to start off, and you tie it up, and then you go to that middle one, and then back to the main rung, and then back to the middle. You just go back and forth, and you measure out 10 inches each time. What you do is you just kind of not wad it up, but kind of like, you see what I'm doing here, kind of gather it up on the end, lay it on any of your main rungs. It doesn't matter whichever one you want to start on. And I said, okay, I'm going to pick this one. And then you just give it about 2 good twists around there. And then that very end, you can just stick it down through that wire. It don't matter. And here I like to use my little ruler because it's smaller and easier. You go 10 inches. And then you just kind of gather it in. I've got 10 inches pulled there, and it's going to take me to that middle one that's on ring number 3 and 4. Goodness, I confuse myself with the wording. It's the wording. You can see what I'm doing here, though. So we go another 10 inches, and we're going to gather at our 10-inch mark. And by the way, this poly mesh was really thick and strong and nice. And that's why I'm only going to use one thing of poly mesh. Normally, I'd try to use 2. So see, I'm going right back to the next one. I'm not skipping. I'm not doing anything. You just go back and forth, back and forth. I go another 10 inches, gather it in, and then go to the very next pipe cleaner. That's all we're doing right now. And we're going to go all the way around, and then we'll meet right back here. Then once you make your last 10-inch and you put it on your last pipe cleaner, you're going to use some scissors, and you just cut off the poly mesh. You're going to give yourself just a little bit of leeway, not too much there, and just tuck it under like you did before, and then fluff out your wreath if you want to right here. But it's not really necessary to go ham on it yet and fluff it out way good. We're going to get it fluffed out just a little bit better here in just a minute, but the next thing we're going to do is add our embellishments. The next thing that I've got is some of this white burlap ribbon. It's 5.5 inches wide. I get it from Walmart. And I'm going to measure it to 8 inches, and then I'm just going to cut. And at this point, I wasn't sure I was going to have enough of my ribbon that's going to go on with these, so I didn't know how many to cut. And I think I cut 12 of them, but we're not going to need that many in the end. But these, I just measured them out 8 inches, and I cut off about 12 of them. And this is my gorgeous ribbon I got at Hobby Lobby on clearance for $1.74. And why I bought one roll only, I will never know. I guess I was trying to be good that day. I don't know. But look how beautiful this ribbon is. It's got like blue and white flowers on it. Oh, it's gorgeous. And it's got that same color of burlap that we just cut off. Now, I measured these out 8 inches also. My little Sure Bonder silicone mat here, it's got measurements on it. So I knew that I could cut these 8 inches. And I only got 8 ribbons cut out of this before it stopped. And man, I wish I would have bought 2 rolls of this, honestly. The next thing that I got is some of this from the Dollar Tree. And this is that mesh ribbon they got at the Dollar Tree. I measured these out 8 inches also, and I cut about 16 of these because I wanted a whole bunch of these. You know, we need them kind of as a filler almost, so I wanted to do double on these. So I ended up cutting 16 of these at 8 inches. Now we're going to put our pieces together. We lay out the burlap. And I'm going to go long ways, I guess you could call it. And I kind of make a little curl under. And then I use my fingers to kind of scrunch it up and curl the other end up. And it makes a little bow. Then I just take that pretty ribbon and I scrunch it up in the middle and hold it together with that same finger. Make sure it looks like a cute little bow. And then I'm just going to take 2 of these little mesh ones, and I do the same thing. I scrunch everything up in the middle and I kind of crisscross them. You don't have to do that, but I thought it would look better to crisscross it. Then I pull out just a little piece of jute and I tie these all together. Now, I made a total of 8 of these little bundles. When I got finished making all 8 bundles, I went through and took the ribbon part there, and I'm going to dovetail the ends, which all that means is you fold it in half and you cut upward and backward at just a small little slant, and it makes a dovetail. Now, all I do is take one of my little ribbon bundles and I'm going to give it 2 little twists on the tie. It don't matter where you start at. And I went at every other one because I knew I only had 8 bundles and I have a total of 12 little pipe cleaners. So I went to every other one and did my little bundles on them. You see, I just kind of open it up and then I give it about 2 twists. And I have not cut the ends of the pipe cleaners off yet. But do every other one until you get it filled up. And then when I got it filled up, I went through with my cutters and I cut off all of the pipe cleaners where I had just attached those little bundles. And then I just kind of sat back and looked at it and saw where it kind of looked a little more sparse to me. And that's where I'm just going to add the extra ones that I have. No big deal. I just added them on there. I still wasn't sure what I was going to do with this wreath, and I was trying to get ideas, and then just go through and cut your little pipe cleaners off. Now, I got this little sign from Hobby Lobby that says hello. It is normally $3.99, so I paid $2 for it. I couldn't see it. I'm going to take that dark and decrepit that we used before, that dark liquid patina, and I wanted to go over the whole thing, all of it. And I went over it kind of messy. I wasn't trying to be precise. I just basically slapped it on, pretty much. After I dried that part, I went through with just some white chalk paint. This is the color called Beadboard. It's an off-white by DIY Paint. I kind of just drew a line across the word hello at the bottom half, and very messily I painted it with that white color. I wanted it to be half and half so it would kind of stand out a little bit more. Now, the thing that kind of inspired this wreath was mushrooms, believe it or not, and the whole Cottagecore thing. I've got these from Dollar Tree. Of course, they were just $1.25. And then this little guy came from the Dollar General store, and he was just $1. He had little mushrooms beside him, and he's a little gnome, and these pieces are going to be perfect, but we need to paint them. Problem is, I don't have any navy blue paint, so I'm going to make my own. I take the color Blue Iris by DIY Paint, and I'm going to put a little bit on my little artist palette here with a popsicle stick. And then I'm just going to take a little bit of anything dark, and I grabbed that dark and decrepit because it was right there beside me. And I mixed them together, and it gave me the perfect navy blue color to match my beautiful wreath. I grabbed my little gnome guy, and I'm just going to take some white chalk paint and make a couple of little dots on those mushrooms that's at his feet, just because I think that looks cute and it looks more whimsical to me that way. Then I'm going to paint his hat because it's orange and it doesn't match anything on this wreath. So I'm going to use some of that navy blue in these tiny little artist brushes that I got off of Amazon. And I'm just going to go over his hat 2 times and make it navy blue also so everything will match. Then I grab my little mushroom set here, and there's a yellow one and a red one. And I'm going to paint the top of that yellow one the blue color. And then I wasn't sure if I was going to use those little flowers, so I just painted them blue too, just so everything would match and look cohesive. I'm going to grab one of these little skinny mushrooms that I made with the resin earlier, and I painted the top of it blue and the bottom of it with that dark and decrepit. I grabbed my snail and I painted his body with dark and decrepit. And then I want to paint his shell kind of an orangish red color. So I'm using the DIY paint called Summer Crush. I go all over his shell, and while it's still wet, I'm going to go over it with the muscadine wine color and just kind of blend it in. I also grabbed that little ladybug and I painted her with the color muscadine wine, and then I painted its head dark and decrepit and put the little dots on it with dark and decrepit. I just want everything to look good and match up. I take my little electric stapler and I'm going to take 2 of these pipe cleaners and just staple them to the back of that word hello because it's dry now. And we want to definitely put these on our wreath with the pipe cleaners. It just makes it easier. But before I put the word hello on, I'm going to go and put my little ladybug and my snail and my mushroom on the words hello. And I just used hot glue on this. That was just a personal preference so I could hurry up, through the video and y'all wouldn't have to wait. And then I just took one of those little tumbling tower blocks and I'm going to glue it onto the word, or to the O. Then I grab my little gnome and I'm going to just glue him on the top of that tumbling tower block as if he's standing there. I went ahead and put that word hello on with the pipe cleaners. I literally just use those pipe cleaners and put them around the wreath. I keep them their full length so they'll stretch. And then I used the little mushrooms up at the top, but it just looked too plain to me, so I had to come up with something else. So I had 3 of these little foam mushrooms that I got in the fall at Dollar Tree. I painted 2 of them, the top, with the blue, and then 1 of them with that color called Castle, and I'm going to put the opposite color dots on them. The ones that I painted blue, I'm going to use the little color called Castle to make the dots, and then the one that I painted Castle here, I'm going to use the blue to make the dots on it, and I used just regular floral wire and tied it around each one of them and put them on the very top part of the wreath, and it made it cute and whimsical, and I hope you like this one.
She thinks I'm a little lazy, I think she's a little crazy. We like summer and we like spring, watching wrestling in the ring. She ain't shy, she speaks her mind, tough as nails and smooth as wine. We burn hot as kerosene, baby, we got our own thing. She ain't skinny and I ain't tall, and that don't bother us at all. I run naked through the yard.
The last one is a dreamy floral hanger, and it is very quick and easy. I found this little floral hanging device. I'm not sure what you would call it, but I got it at the thrift store for only $2, so I grabbed it and said, why not? I want to keep that gold that's on it, and I like those tacky old gold-colored little stringy things hanging off the side, so we're going to keep those on there too. And the only part that I plan to paint is going to be that very front panel. And I just grabbed my white Waverly chalk paint, and I'm going to give this 2 coats all over that front part. Like I said, I want that gold to stay, and I like those old crazy looking, something look like come off of a 1970 sofa. I kind of like it for what we got going on here. So don't hate on me. You'll like it too, I think. I'm going to use this beautiful transfer that came from Ephemeral Melange. That's the name of the IOD book that it came out of. And if you've never done a transfer before, they're very easy. You just lay them down and you kind of flatten it out with your hands. And then you're going to use the little scraper that they give you. And you're basically just going to scrape it and it's going to come off of there. My little trick for making it easier to come off is kind of pull it up at the same time as you're doing the little scraping mechanism, a little scratching tool, and it comes off easier. Now I'm going to use this dark and decrepit because I love it, and I am going to go over the whole thing, and then I'm just going to wipe off the excess. I didn't want it to be all white and pristine. I mean, you could go that route if you wanted to, but I didn't want it that way. I wanted it to look old and worn. So I went around the whole thing, just used that little paper towel to wipe off the excess, and I even used my little hand zippy sander thingy. You know, I don't know the word for that, the name of it, and I just scratched it off here and there. And that's all I did to this one, and look how pretty it is. Probably my favorite out of all of these. Well, guys, it's that time again. It's the end of the video, and I want to thank y'all so much for stopping in and spending your time with me today and doing a little crafting with me. I hope you like these projects. It's a little bit different than what I'm used to, but I like to try different things. I want to say thank you for all the kind comments and prayers that you guys have been sending my way. I had my first infusion done on Thursday, and I think it's going to take a couple more before I really start to feeling better, but I want to thank you for that. And guys, if you like this video, please give me a big thumbs up. It really helps push my channel out on YouTube. Also, don't forget to subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet, and go over to my other channels and support me there too. I'm on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and my videos are every Monday and Thursday at 6:30 here on YouTube. I love you guys, and I'll see you Thursday, Lord willing, and the creek don't rise. Hello. Say hello. 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 How are you today? Are you doing all right? I love you so much. I love you. I have to brag about this Bowie right here because the last few days, okay, I can't do that anymore. I'm too southern. We have been training him to go pee-pee outside. And do you know what Mommy did? Put the bag down, Tuffy. That's what I'm about to talk to y'all about, is that special bag right there. But anyways, I have tricked him because he's been having accidents in his crate. He's still a puppy, okay? I just take this small bag of dog treats. They're very small dog treats, and I shake them when I go to the door, and I say, let's go pee-pee. They go outside, and before he thought going outside meant, oh, let's go have fun. Let's roll in the grass and eat dandelions. You know how this dog does. He loves to eat dandelions for some reason. So anyway, since he has caught on to the dog trick, I give him a treat when he pees. That dog goes directly outside and squats immediately and looks up at me like, I did it again, Mom. It's like he's proud of himself. And I'm so proud of him. I'm like a proud mommy. Now, pugs are very smart, but sometimes with the boys, you have to kind of trick them to do what you need them to do. Now, I need him to stop having accidents and to be fully potty trained. And so that's what I do. I give him a treat, and he sits there and waits on his treat. And not only does he get one treat, he usually gets 2 or 3 just because he's so cute. Tuffy, stop chewing the couch. I saw that. What are you doing, Tuffy? What do you think you're doing, Tuffy Tata? Tuffy Tata, no. No. If I talk to them in a different voice, it flips him out, so he stops whatever he's doing. Anyways, what I wanted to talk to y'all about is this. I got Happy Mail today. That little blue tag says Happy Mail. It came from Milton's daughter. Look at all these gorgeous transfers I got. I want to introduce to y'all, I've been wanting these for a while, and I've got them. We've got Botanist Journal. This is gorgeous. Gorgeous, y'all. Oh my gosh, look at this. Let me lay it down so you can see it through this plastic. Okay, it's got 4 big flower pictures. Look at that bird. Oh, look at that sunflower and the dragonfly. Oh, okay, that's Botanist Journal. This is one I've wanted for a long time, okay? This one is called Wallflower. Look at those colors. Those two colors together are just everything to me. I love them. I especially love them in the fall, but anytime they're gorgeous. There's 8 sheets in this one, and this is what you got. These are gorgeous, gorgeous. Look, they're all florals. They're so pretty. Look at that. Wow. Okay, that is Wallflower. This one is called Exploration. This one is a little bit older, but I'm really excited about it. It's 8 12 by 16 sheets, and it's got all these cool, like, there's a train on the back, a boat, a plane, bicycles. I mean, it's got like, you know, the globes, just things that would make you think of exploring, a hot air balloon. These are amazing. Look at this big ship. I could see this in like a man cave, definitely. And I love the hot air balloon. I love the bicycles. Crazy about the bicycles. What's cool about the Exploration is it's transfers, but it has letters and it has numbers, which I absolutely love. And look at these. These are cute too. It's like sign language. How cool is that? Look at the train, y'all. Golly, that's cool. I'm really, really excited about this one. And there's one more, and I'm very excited about it too. It's kind of a southwestern kind of feel is what it gives me. It's called Desperado. It is 8 12 by 16 sheets. Look at this buffalo. And I actually put this top buffalo and this saying, "Hush, Tuffy, you're not the star of the show." He's trying to get up there with Roxy. And he can't get up on the couch yet. And she tries to, like, aggravate him with the bones and gets up there like, "Look what I've got and you don't have it." She's a terrible big sister sometimes. But, I mean, normal, you know, big sister stuff. Okay, I put this on a child's desk one time and it sold the first day I put it out. It's an old-timey desk, and the saying says, "Do not go where the path may lead. Go instead where there is no path and leave a trail." Emerson. I love that. Like I said, I love the buffalo, and these black and white flowers are gorgeous. I'm telling you, when you put them with some colored background, gorgeous. We got cactuses. On the side, we've got 2 that makes this huge picture right here of like the steer head. Look at that. I love that. And then it also has like these cool shapes, just like shapes, you know, like geometrical looking shapes. And then here you've got like a band poster kind of motif. It says Mohawk Lounge, Little Stevie and the Merchants. I really like that. That's cool. That's amazing. And that one's called Desperado. So I got these new 4. I'm very excited. Tuffy Tater is learning how to potty, and hopefully we're going to be getting some more iron transfusions in the next few weeks and feeling a little bit better and trying to feel like a human again. So as of right now, everything's good.